Hey up, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moses Lessons in Confidence. And today I'm not here to talk about that film, I'm here to talk about an album I've been working on for the past, I want to say year and a half, called Decisions in Another Language, which for me has been a form of making music as a form of therapy. I've been using the music as a way of expressing myself. So the album composes of 7 tracks, there's 7 tracks that make up the album. And I'm basically just going to go through each track and I'm just going to talk about what was going through my head when I was making it and where my influences kind of came from and that kind of thing, and you know how you could make this sort of thing yourself. So I'm going to do it track by track because it's a semi-concept album about a I'm going to get it out of the way, be blunt. I got divorced last year. Wasn't my thing, it was her thing, so whatever. But I used the album as a way of sort of figuring that out. Yeah. There's one thing you're going to have to get used to, cars and stuff. The first song was called Communication, and the song Communication was all about the idea of someone leaving a relationship, and it was me trying to empathize with my ex-wife's point of view and trying to figure out, you know, maybe trying to see things from the other point of view. And you know, because it's very easy to get caught up in your own ego and like, yeah, I'm totally in the right and you're totally in the wrong and all this sort of stuff. And I wanted to get away from that. I wanted this to be a evenly balanced piece of art that gets things across in a balanced way where neither person is made out to be the hero nor the villain. Okay, it's not that kind of thing. It was a fairly amicable breakup. And we don't talk anymore, but it was an amicable, more or less, breakup, and I used the album as a way of getting over it. And the song Communication in particular, I originally composed the music for it for an old project I was doing called the Morrison Royalty Free Suite, which was basically my own former music school where I taught myself how to record and compose and arrange music, essentially. And if you listen to Volume 1, it sounds awful, absolutely unlistenably bad. And Volume 2, fairly similar, but a little bit better because I introduced a couple minor elements. And then Volume 3, it starts to get a bit better, another car. And then Volume 4 gets better after that, copyright. And then Volume 5, it started to get semi-decent, and then Volume 6, I feel like Volume 6 was when I finally started to feel semi-proud of my work. And then Volume 7 came around and I was refining what I did on Volume 7. And then Communication was a song I wrote for Volume 8, and it was the mainstay of that album. And it's one of my favorite pieces, so much so that I actually revisited it for this album. I wrote that during our breakup, because it was one of those breakups that lasted a few months, you know, on and off kind of thing, and then it was done. So I wrote it in the midst of all that, so it was a very emotionally charged time, and emotional charged times are exactly what you need to create sincere forms of expression. When I was working my old job at a bar, I was talking to my boss while we were doing like, I think we were doing the bottle up or something like that. And I was telling him like how I was working on music and stuff as a form of just like trying to not think about things, not think about the 6.5-year relationship that had just gone down the pan. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said that breakups are the best time to make songs because, you know, all the best songs were written by people going through a hard time. And I really resonated with that, and I kind of took that to heart. And I wrote a lot of the songs, the lyrics for the songs around that point in the first couple of months afterwards, but I made sure to sit on those lyrics and not rush to release anything too quickly, because I knew that my emotions would change and that, you know, in a couple of years I might look back on this project and go, oh, Jesus Christ, that's a bit cringy, you know, that kind of thing. Another car. And yeah, Communication was all about empathizing with the other side of the coin. And then so I guess this is it. Well, because Communication was a very, you know, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and a very liberating song from my ex-wife's point of view that I wrote, trying to empathize with that point of view. And then so I guess this is it. It's a different song where it's more about, you know, bit more melancholic, a bit like, oh, had to be done, didn't it? You know, got to do what you got to do, that kind of thing. So it's a much slower song, and it's kind of an accompaniment to the song Communication. Then after that, you got the song Buongiorno Straniero, which is Italian for Good Morning Stranger. And that song is more from my perspective of being left behind and the isolation that kind of came, and the immediate anger that kind of came after that, and like trying to come to terms with it, that kind of thing. It's a much more melancholic and slow song, more inspired by Pink Floyd and that kind of thing. It's a very progressive song in that regard. It's got like multiple time signatures, and it's in Lydian mode and stuff like that. And I think it modulates at a certain point to D minor or something like that. I can't quite remember. But it's a fun piece of music that took an awful lot of tweaking to get right. Then what have you got after that? Conclusion Delusion, which was probably the last song, second to last song that I wrote for the album. And that's all about the idea of people chasing closure and hurting themselves in the process, and how closure's kind of bollocks and you don't need it. And it's a nice idea that should remain that. It should remain a nice idea. And sometimes you shouldn't allow those ideas to realize. So it was it's probably the heaviest song on it. It's the most metal song on it. It's got an actual metal breakdown, which I really like. It goes fucking mad, you know, I love it. It's in 6/8 time, and it's very simple composition, 2 chords. Its capo is on the 2nd fret, and then it's A minor shape and then a C shape, and that's it for the entire thing. And then the breakdown is just, I think it's like a B, just a power chord, just doing that, and that's it. So that's a fun sort of song. So I'm going to move that because he's going to try and get past.
What are you filming, man?
I'm just filming a bit of promo for an album I'm working on.
You make music?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name?
Josh. Oh, sweet.
Yeah?
Back
Nice
and
to
out.
meet you then.
Yeah, you too, man.
Have a good one.
Take care, man. This is what I'm fucking talking about, man. When it comes to, you know, just going with the flow. You do stuff and stuff works out for you. Just got a music video gig out of that. Or we might do a collaboration or whatever. I love making all kinds of music. I love music. It's never car, so I have a little bit of banter in the meanwhile. So what was I on? I was on Conclusion Delusion, and that was all about the idea of closure being a bit bollocks. And then you've got the song Butterflies, which is based on a real event that happened to me. I went out to Peckham, and I was filming a concert as a gig, and then I was on the way home. It was like 2 a.m. and this woman comes up to me, and she's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she thought I worked for the TFL, and I was immediately kind of stricken by her. I don't think she actually knows I'm stricken by her, but if she sees this, which I don't think she will, then you know, I do like. I mean, I know you've moved away now, which is we went on a date and it didn't really work out. Not because she had to move away, but I think it was fairly amicable. I might have come on too strong because I haven't dated really. I mean, I've been married, but I've never really dated. I kind of just got like snatched up. So that was the first date I've ever been on. So, you know, sorry if I came off a bit too hard, but you know, I made the song at that exact point because I was so inspired to make something that felt like a love song, like a true love song, because I knew that I couldn't make a love song about my ex-wife that felt genuine, because it would just come across as fake, because I wasn't in that mindset. So I just kind of worked my way around it, and you know, it wasn't a long-lasting thing. It was an infatuation that lasted a week or two, and then she had to move away, so it didn't really work out. But I'm really glad that I managed to get that moment in my life down as a song, as a piece of expression. And it's probably my favorite song on the album. It's another easy one. It's 2 chords. It's capo's on the 1st fret, and it's a F chord that goes into an A sus2. Really fun chord progression. Little bit fucky. It's technically an F sharp Lydian, I think. I think it's technically an F sharp Lydian, or something like that. It's a bit weird, but it's still a simple song, and it sort of sounds a bit 80s. Indie, kind of a bit lo-fi, that kind of thing. And then after that, you've got a song called The Girl on the Balcony, which was originally based on the story of another story about that same woman who I went out to meet some communists, right? And on the way back, just gonna hide that for the wind. On the way back, I was on the bus and it was like 2 a.m. and I was on my phone thinking of ideas for this film that I was working on at the time about two people that meet and form a relationship, and it's kind of a lovey story. And I was sort of working with someone else, and I was trying to. There was this idea that the phones would get swapped, and they'd have to meet up so they could exchange the phones back. And I kind of thought, we could do something more interesting than that. So I was trying to think of how they could meet, and I'm on the bus, and the bus comes to a stop, and I'm kind of leaning like that on the top bunk, on the top deck of the bus, and right in front of my eyes, the woman that I wrote the song Butterflies about, that I met on the bus, she's on the balcony at some kind of I don't know, party or like gathering of friends or whatever, and she's looking back at me, and I'm not. And there were some other people that were on the bus that were like, "Oh, there's that person. Oh, let's all wave," and they all start waving, and she starts waving, and I'm sort of like, "Is she waving to me?" So I kind of do a bit of that, bit of that. The song didn't end up going down that road because I couldn't quite find an interesting way of writing it. So it kind of became more of this general idea of being about a woman that is very lofty with her. She's a very pseudo-deep person, and trying to understand that person is trying to understand someone that is apparently so deep, but maybe they're not really as deep as they think, and they use a lot of pretentious wordings and have a lot of ideas that they think are very lofty but kind of aren't. So it was kind of about that, and it was an excuse to write some pretentious-y, airy-fairy kind of lyrics. So I kind of enjoyed that. That's another song since 6/8. That's probably the slowest sort of ballad on the song, next to Buongiorno Straniero. It's another one of them. And then the final song is called Why These Things Happen, where I finally got to tap into my krautrock, my love for krautrock, my Neu and early Kraftwerk and Can and Faust and more recently Camera and some certain King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard songs and stuff in that vein. So I was really able to tap into my love of that, and the song basically just taking it out of the emotional aspect of what the whole album is about, and just basically it's just a list of statistics really, and that's kind of what it's about, and that's the way that the album ends, and that's pretty much the entirety of the album. Then it closes out on this kind of really messy, fucky kind of jazzy kind of jam that goes on for a fair bit, and then it ends like that. And yeah, in terms of how I made the album, it's basically me recording all the instruments. I used MIDI for the drums. I used a combination of Modo drums, which is IK Multimedia, and I also used Stephen Slate drums, both of which I used free. All my VSTs were free. I didn't pay for any of them. The main expense of this album was batteries for my Zoom H4n. What I would do is, before I had an audio interface that I really understood and how to work it and stuff, what I would do is I would put the backing track on an SD card. You've got to title it TRK1-00, and then maybe 01, 02 for each subsequent version that you put onto the SD card. And then you put it onto the SD card, put the SD card into the Zoom, and then you would load up the Zoom, and you would have the Zoom mic'd up. Zoom is a little handy recorder that you use to record audio. And what I did is I used my own playing, and then put it through the Zoom, and then I would take the recordings off the SD card, and then I would put them into Adobe Audition. Not like a DAW or anything, I used Adobe Audition. The only reason I used a DAW was so that I could make the drum grooves out of various loops and stuff that were available in the VSTs that I was downloading. Plus I also downloaded extra grooves, and I would adjust things here and there. I'd add cymbals, or I'd move something from being ride to being hi-hats and shit like that. And from there, all that was really left to do was just record all the tracks, record the guitars, the vocals, the bass, the electric guitar, the lead guitar, the synths, if I had synths in it, the pads and stuff, everything really. And then it was just a case of putting it all together and getting it done, sitting on it for a bit, because now that the album is done in a demo form, I want to get some real musicians together and play this music as a live band, as a real performance. So what I've been doing lately is I've been learning how to sing and play the songs at the same time, and learn to be a bit of a front man about it, and start doing like all that kind of shit, you know. And I'm just having a lot of fun with it. So if you want to be part of this album, well, first, that's a cue to play a bit from each song. So it's communication. You see how it's a little bit kind of, it's like Pink Floyd, but a bit thicker, a bit bigger, and a bit faster. It's a bit of a jam kind of thing. It's a song that you can kind of improv over. Very simple as well, apart from the fact it modulates from C-sharp Dorian to C-sharp minor. But apart from that, it's a very simple song. And then you've got So I Guess This Is It, which is a much more slower ballad. That's in C minor, and it's something like that. That was the first song I made for the album. And then you've got Buongiorno Straniero, which is a very bloody complicated song actually. It's all got all weird fucking chords in it. It's in Lydian, it's a very slow song, 61 BPM. Not 60 BPM, because I had it at 60 BPM and that felt too slow, and then I put it up to 65 BPM and that felt too fast, so I just did 64 too fast, 63 too fast, 62 too fast, 61, all right. Then you've got Conclusion Delusion, which is again a very easy song. That's what it sounds like. And then Butterflies, sounds like that. Then Girl on the Balcony, sounds like that. And then Why These Things Happen. You've probably gotten a bit bored of listening to all that, but if you haven't, then shoot me an email, or actually put a comment down below. I'd like to, and I'd also like to see your own music, especially if you send the comment from the channel you also upload your music to. That way I can just go on the channel, I can just find your music, and I can like subscribe, and I can comment on your stuff as well, because I want to support small artists and that kind of thing, because I'm a small artist myself, and I think we should help each other out in a, not in a sub for sub way, but in a way where we genuinely enjoy one another's artworks. Yeah, I think that's about it. That's all I really needed to get across. It's getting quite dark, so I feel like I'm losing so much light that there's not much point in doing this. But you've seen what it's like to just try things out and express yourself and do things. And yeah, that's what I love doing, and I'm going to try and do it till the day I die. Thank you so much for watching this. Listen to the demo version. It's on the channel, so it's there. Yeah, because this is the last like 20 seconds of the video, so it's right there. It's on the, or maybe it's that side. Maybe, I don't know. It's one of the sides. Or maybe it's covering my face. Bye.